if I was going to build a board portfolio out in the next 12 to 24 months, I would be very strategic about how I was going to do this. And I do, in fact, plan to have a board portfolio, but probably when I sort of hit the 60 plus mark, I'm not quite ready to go down that pathway full time because I have a lot of business interests. But let's just hypothetically say for one moment I was going to go down this pathway. First and foremost, I'd make sure I was serving on at least two or three what I call stepping stone board seats. Now, that might be a not for profit, that might be an industry board or a charity, but more likely for me, because of my entrepreneurial background, I'm going to be serving in that early stage, high potential business community, probably as the chair of the advisory board. And I'd be trying to secure two or three of those appointments. Now, I would be targeting human resources, artificial intelligence, technology boards that are in my sweet spot, that leverage my knowledge of recruitment, human resources, talent management. That to me is where I add a lot of value. That's where I can instantly open doors and activate my business network. And I would be trying to secure a chair of the advisory board type appointment because that would give me the cachet, put that on the CV, and it will bring me into contact with chairs of other organizations, enable me to approach maybe the private equity, venture capital markets effectively. Those companies are usually raising capital. I might become an angel investor in those businesses, and so I'll leverage all of those elements when I try to negotiate my contracts. So I'd have at least two or three of those appointments. And then I'd move to my next quadrant. So, they're my early stage high potential businesses. They're advisory board seats, they're quasi mentoring gigs. That's okay. I'm very happy with that. I would then move to the next phase, which is looking at those higher profile private equity venture capital backed transactions. They will be larger businesses that have probably gone through Series A and maybe are moving towards Series B and Series C. And again, I'd be trying to leverage my networks, my connections, my ability to raise capital, my ability to invest to secure those appointments. Then I might look for something a little bit different. I might do an anchor appointment with maybe Vistage or the CEO Institute or one of those kind of syndicate style groups, because that gives me a home, that gives me a base where I could sort of operate from and secure a chair of a syndicate, build a syndicate up, and that syndicate might go on to last many years, and it gives me an annuity stream. A little bit hard to get these up off the ground, but eventually that will deliver results. I might also join a number of mentoring groups where I can offer my services as a mentor. And of course, I'd still be doing some advisory work, and the advisory work would keep my income levels up as I'm building out the board portfolio, because that may take a little bit of time. So my estimate, and I've done this a few times, is that I could probably get those first three chair of the advisory board positions within about 6 months. I know the networks, I know who I need to go and approach, I know how to identify those companies. So that wouldn't take me too long. And then in the next 6 months, I think I could definitely pick up at least one or two private equity backed vehicles. And then obviously mentoring, advisory work could then start to augment. I'm pretty confident that I could get my portfolio up over the 300K mark, probably approaching towards the 500K mark, but I have a deep network that I'm able to leverage to be able to identify those opportunities. But nonetheless, I'm going to be extremely strategic, and this is the key to building out a board portfolio. You've got to be very clear on where you add the most value. Don't waste your time with roles where you're in the top 25%. You're just not going to get traction. And then you really want to go about it step by step, because board careers are incremental. You want to build momentum. And at every step along the way, I celebrate, I'm promoting. There's a bit of self-promotion in this game. But don't be afraid of that, because that's important to get your name out there so people start to recognize that you're adding value to boardrooms and are an attractive candidate for other roles and opportunities. If I did that in 12 months, in the second year my life's going to be dramatically easier, because that ecosystem's going to start to deliver results, connections, other opportunities will start to flow through. I would still do another year of business development, but it won't be anywhere near as hard as the first year. So think about that when you're building out your board portfolio. Of course, it's always a lot easier if you're working with a partner who's going to open those doors for you. So book into my diary for a complimentary board portfolio assessment. What could we do to develop your board portfolio in the next 12 months?